You can grow a lot in a small space. This trellis here is covered in only 6 gray sweet cherry tomatoes, and there's a lot of biomass there.
Today's video is sort of showing everyone that even though sometimes it looks like we garden a huge space, we actually don't.
Even though we have 38 acres, we did some calculating this morning, and it's shocking how little of an area we're actually functionally gardening.
Yeah.
Now, with that, obviously the apples are not part of this. That's almost more of like a foraging, because they're
way in the back 40.
But all of the annual vegetables and a large portion of the fruit that we have.
Yeah, this includes the raspberry bed.
The blueberries are kind of in this too, although they're not really producing yet. But so yeah, it's a lot of stuff coming from a relatively small area.
The focus here is basically to show you that even if you have a small space, you could be growing this much as well. We are going to take you kind of around, I guess, and just show you, each garden bed that we have and explain the size and give you the overall area that we harvest from. The space that we are gardening actually surprised us with how small it really was in the grand scheme of things. So we work in 3 in-ground gardens. The first one being the one at the back of the barn that used to have the horses. That one is 14 by 60. Then we have one beside the barn, which is 16 by 32. And then we have our kind of hodgepodge shaped garden here that has a chicken coop in it and things like that. And that one really wasn't easy to kind of calculate out for, it's not a rectangle or a square, it's kind of all over the place. So that one we just did by square footage. And then we also have our raised beds and such. So the first garden, the 14 by 60, ended up being 840 square feet. I'm reading off my cheat sheet. The one beside the barn, 16 by 32, that one's 512 square feet. And yes, we do have a little bit of creep going on with the Canada crookneck squash. They're kind of going out into the driveway, so I suppose we're using a little bit more surface, but it's actually only a tilled garden on a 16 by 32. And then our big kind of main bed in here by the barn and the chicken coops, we worked that one out to be 2,800 square feet. That's probably a little bit generous, but some parts we aren't using very well yet. But the big plan is to kind of use all of that space eventually. Then we have our raised beds. They made up 512 square feet. And our blue barrel gardens, which happen to be right behind me here, they were 32 square feet. And then we had the raspberry patch. That was 375 square feet. So I'm not sure, I think Chris said in the intro, we weren't really counting the apple trees. That's kind of set back on, oh, my starving cat is here again. He's in almost every video. But anyway, so we weren't really including the apple orchard because it's kind of at the back, more like a foraging type thing, like what Chris had said. So in total, we have garden space making up 5,071 square feet. So that's actually really not very big compared to what it might appear. An acre is 43,560 square feet. So we're actually gardening a little bit over 1/10 of an acre. And again, we say not including the apple trees. But we would like to expand a little bit more on that, next year, future years, who knows? I mean, we always make plans. The sort of take-home message is that you can grow a lot of food on very little space. We're floored at what we're bringing in on our harvest this year, and just how much that's tallying up to, because of course, as everybody knows, we've been recording that this year and keeping track of how much we've actually grown and harvested in a weight value. So stay tuned for final numbers on that as the end of harvest season comes.
So there you kind of have it. There's the breakdown, I guess, of the amount of space that we're actually gardening this year. We've said it kind of throughout the video, but we would like to expand on that because more space is useful to us. We can put it to use. But at the same time, it's amazing how little space you actually need to produce quite a bit of food. And of course, there's lots of little particulars about that, depending on what you're trying to grow. But as we showed kind of at the beginning of the video, on our huge patch of cherry tomatoes, you can grow a lot in a very, very small area. So
Get out there and grow.
Get out and grow, and use whatever space you have, and you'll probably be amazed at how much you can actually produce.
Finished with a rooster crowing.